But in 2019, does not believing in humanity's greatest achievement mean the same thing it did back in 1969? In addition to big celebrations at Kennedy Space Center and other locations around the country, there will be docs and specials airing on Saturday everywhere from the Discovery Channel to CNN, HBO to BBC America. It's happened before, White says, like during a 2016 press conference in Sydney for the documentary Last Man on the Moon. White claims he secretly recorded Apollo 17 astronaut Gene Cernan, the 11th person to walk on the moon, saying, "I didn't go to the moon. Not to go home." Stories of Neil Armstrong's "one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind" are everywhere, with the surviving Apollo astronauts rightfully being treated like heroes. If you recognize Sibrel's name, it could be for his 2001 documentary, A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon, one of the first in-depth and most influential videos attempting to discredit the moon landing. When Sibrel and his crew left without removing Mitchell's wireless mic, Sibrel claims he overheard the astronaut discussing with his son whether or not to call the CIA to have me assassinated. Ask yourself this. Now, if I'm simply misguided, then why would the CIA be called to assassinate a journalist making a discovery that is not true? Sibrel possibly being threatened with a CIA hit never made national news. NASA, for its part, has officially commented on the conspiracy theories only once. In response to accusations by Sibrel and others that NASA never landed men on the moon, the agency replied with just 3 words back in 2001. People have been denying that we made it on the moon almost immediately after Apollo 11 landed on the lunar surface on July 20, 1969. A New York Times writer in late 1969 claimed he encountered several Barstool critics in Chicago insisting that the Apollo 11 moonwalk last July was actually staged by Hollywood on a Nevada desert. The next summer, the Wisconsin State Journal reported that many skeptics feel moon explorer Neil Armstrong took his giant step for mankind somewhere in Arizona. One woman in Macon felt convinced that the moon landing broadcast must have been fake because her set wouldn't even pick up New York stations. The denial started earnest in 1974 when Bill Kaysing, a former employee for a NASA contractor, self-published a 200-page pamphlet called "We Never Went to the Moon: America's $30 Billion Swindle." Kaysing's arguments, and the arguments of every moon landing hoaxer that came after him, touches on roughly the same talking points. NASA didn't have the technology to get a man to the moon, so they fabricated the whole thing. Flag that waves in the breeze, despite the lack of atmosphere, the lack of stars in any of the photos, the Van Allen radiation belts that would have killed the astronauts with lethal doses of cosmic radiation, the shadows that don't quite line up, and so on. If they went to the moon with 1969 equipment, we should be in